Hi and welcome back to Dave's Guitar Lessons. Today we're going to be doing another play-along lesson where we're going to be looking at some funk rhythm guitar. So I'm just going to give you a quick demonstration of what you're going to be learning in today's lesson. If you like this lesson, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. If you want the resources that come with this lesson, just check out the link in the description box below and you can get all the resources that come with this lesson as well. Okay, so before we get started with the track and put the track on, actually start playing along, I'm just going to go through a few things with you about what we're going to be playing, like the chords, and just how I approach writing these kind of tracks. So first of all, the chords. Now the vamp is just an E funk, so it's just going to be a funky groove in the key of E. It's a 1-chord vamp based around a 7th chord. Now the first chord we're going to use is an E9 chord, so that's going to be A string, 7th fret, the D string, 6th fret, and then a bar with your 3rd finger across the G, B and E strings at the 7th fret. It's got a nice funky sound as that, really good sound. I've got a little bit of reverb on the guitar and that's about it, so it's pretty dry, it's just a little bit of reverb. Now I know some people find that kind of chord shape quite hard to do, so if you do find that hard to do, you can just play the little bar across the G, B and E strings on the 7th fret. And that works absolutely fine. You're implying the E7 or E9 kind of chord there, so you can just do that if you need to. So even if you find that chord hard, you've got something you can play along with and jam with us. The next chord shape is a standard E7 type of shape. So that's 7th fret with your 3rd finger on the A string, 6th fret with your 2nd finger on the D string, little finger is on the G string at the 7th fret, and then 1st finger on the B string on the 5th fret. You can let the high E string ring through if you want to, but you probably want to make the chords quite stabby because that's what it's about in funk music, so you probably won't want the open strings, but they will work if you accidentally hit it. Now when I do this chord in these kind of jams, when I do funky things, I often just take small parts of the chords rather than playing the full thing. I want to just get a smaller sound, so I will probably end up playing just the D string, G string and B string, so just these 3. So if you notice me playing this shape, it is actually just this shape, just I take that finger off. Now the other kind of chord shape we're using, the last one, is just going to be this little bar on the 12th fret on the B and E strings. Now sometimes I do like to add the G string at the 11th fret, because that gives it that 9th kind of sound again. So if you see me making this kind of shape or this kind of shape, that's basically all I'm doing, is just basically that kind of sound. Right, now the actual rhythm of this. Now what I tend to do when it comes to funky rhythms is I think in 16th notes. 16th notes is a perfect way to think when you're doing things that are a bit more groovy. So you want to be thinking 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. When I come up with the rhythms, I usually put the track on slow and find where I want to get the groovy points, where I want to place the stabs. I'll either put the track on slow or put a metronome on, or even just count in my head, and I'll click or tap my fingers, clap my hands, whatever, and find out where I want the groove. So in this one I started off by, I wanted there to be a pulse on the 1 and the and of 1. Then I wanted to put another one on the and of 2, so it'd be 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. And I also wanted to put one after that on the E of 3, so it would be 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. So even as we say that and clap along, you can feel there's a lot of groove there just because I've added that little offbeatness to it. So I also want to put one on beat number 4. So that one, if I can do it right, would be 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a... We're going to put the track on now and we're going to start playing along. Now the way I like to do this when I'm actually bringing this to the guitar and starting to get the groove to form is I don't just try and play the full thing in one go straight away. I will build it up gradually. So I might add the first beat, the first stab in first, then I'll do that a few times. When I start feeling comfortable with that, I'll start adding the next one and I'll gradually build it up until it turns into the part that I want it to be. Right, so now we've got the track on, let's have a quick listen to it so we can hear what we're going to be working with first of all. So the first thing you want to do is just get used to the count, get used to the beat, the groove of it. So we want to be thinking those 16th notes. Okay, so 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a... So it feels weird when counting like that, it feels like it's almost forced. So you just want to think of it in whatever way you can. So you think of numbers, that's fine, but if you just want to think of it as decca 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 whatever you want to do, as long as you're feeling that 16th note. The 16th note part is really important for you to get into. Now, first step we're going to do, we're going to just play scratch notes. We're just going to deaden the strings and we're just going to strum this hand to get it nice and loose, because we need a nice loose right hand as we're keeping the rhythm going. And notice I feel like I'm kind of accenting each number. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, now as we get going, when we get going with the rhythm, we're not going to be as strict about keeping just a dead on scratching all the way through. We can be quite loose with the scratches because that's what's going to add more funkiness to it. It's going to make it a bit more groovy. The fact that we can occasionally miss them out or we can add some, you know, it's all just about what you feel like doing as you play. Now, just to get used to the beat a bit more, let's just try making the E9 chord. I'm going to hear how it sounds over it. So it sounds nice over this backing. Right, now we're going to play just the nice scratch rhythm, but we're going to press his fingers down on each of the numbers. So, that's a nice rhythm already, is that? And I say if you find it hard to do that chord, you can just do that little bar. Nice way to get used to the rhythm at first, just getting a bit of a groove to it. So we're going to start out by just playing the chord, and we're just going to play it on the 1. Keep the scratching going. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Alright, now when we're ready we're going to start adding in the and of 1 as well. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and. You feel it's already getting a nice bit of a groove to it. Now you might also notice that I've stopped doing the up scratch on the E or the of the E of 1. I've stopped doing that. I'm just doing down, down, and then back to scratching. Yeah, trying to make bum notes like that. So next step we're going to add in the and of 2. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Again, it's a nice groove already and that works really well over this, so even if you just got to that point, it's a really nice funky rhythm. Now the next step is we want to add in the E of 3. Now because this is a bit tricky to add in, after I've done it I'm actually going to stop with the scratching, so it'll be. it's got a nice groove to it as that already, really nice groove to it. Now for the main groove now, we just need to add one last strum on, one last stab on beat number 4. So. I noticed that I did make a few mistakes in where I put the stabs, but because I was keeping to that 16th note groove, I was keeping that 16th note feel, it didn't sound out of place, it sounded alright, you know. Funky's quite loose, we want to keep it quite repetitive, but you can keep it quite loose with your groove. Right, so that's the main groove sorted. That's the basis of what we're basing everything on, so we're just going to try it one more time before we start adding some other little things like those chord shapes. So. Really try to focus in on the snare. Now what I find really helps with this kind of stuff, and it's tricky to do at first, and I sometimes have a little bit of trouble with it as well, so now I try and work on quite a bit, is trying to be just behind the beat. So if I aim for the snare, where I know I'm going to be hitting a downbeat, I'll try and be a little bit behind it, and I mean subtly behind it. I'm doing it subtle, but it just gives it that more relaxed feel. It's a way of just getting yourself feeling a bit more relaxed in the groove. Right, so the next step, I'm going to treat that as part A, so that's going to be our first bit, part 1 or part A, whatever you want to call it. So that's going to be our main thing. So next time round, so the second time round, what I want to do is I'm going to add the E7 shape at the end, right? So. Now, like I say, sometimes when I do this, I'll do it without that finger, so if it looks a bit weird when I'm doing it, don't worry about it too much, it's just the way I like to play. Like I say, I like to use little voicings of chords. And what I'm trying to do now is when I go to that one, I'm going to slide into it. It gives it that really funky, it gives it a little bit of movement, it makes it sound like it's moving a bit more. If you find that hard, you can, or you can't get into that chord very well, you can actually do it still on the E9 chord, just coming at it from behind. Again, if you can't do that chord, you can just do that little stab and just come in from a note behind as well. Now I'm just going to try it now with the version that I've been doing, where I do that little slide like that. So. So it's got a nice sound to it already, and I like these kind of voices because it just adds, like I say, a bit of movement, a bit more colour to it, even though technically we're still only playing one chord. So first time round, we've just stab on the 4. Second time round with that little slide. Now the third time round, back to the same as the first, so section A. So we'll treat that slide thing as section B. Section A again. And then on the third time, I'm just going to add like a down-up kind of strum on just these. So I'd say I'll probably do it like that. same kind of shape though, so I think I'm playing 12 on the D, 11 on the G, 12 and 12 on the B and E strings. And I'm just doing that on the 4th time around just to add a bit of variety. Right, so. You see, it just adds a nice flavour to it. It just gives it that little bit more movement again. But like I said, we're just using one chord, but we're just moving around the way we're playing it, and it just gives it that nice funky feel. So I'll do it now with just the small voicings, so you can try in a nice and easy way. Now, in a band setting, depending on what's going on around us, and I need more space, because sometimes these kind of chord shapes can get a bit muddy if you're playing with a keyboard player and you're playing in a similar range to what they're playing. So I sometimes will just do the simple little stabby versions. So this one would be just this, a slide in and up to 12th fret. Okay. Okay. And just got a nice groove to it. So just to recap, we started off with just adding beat number 1. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and we added the and of 1. Then we added the and of 2. Right, then we have the E of 3, okay. Now that again, even that in itself is a nice funky rhythm. Now if I relax this hand and I'm not as scratchy with it, that can end up being a really nice part as well. Right, so then we can add beat number 4. Right, so that's section A. Now we want to add the little slide on the 2nd time round. So here we go. With a different voicing. Then we want to add the little 16th note strum kind of thing going at the end of it now. So and that's on part number 4. So part 1 a normal, part 2 with the slide, 3 normal, part 4 with the little strum pattern. Okay. So thanks very much for watching this lesson. I'm really liking doing these play along style lessons, so if you like it as well, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, all that stuff, leave comments, all that. If you want the resources, just look at the link in the description box below and you'll find the jam track and everything else that comes with this lesson. Yeah, so I guess that's it. So I'll see you next time, and have fun playing some funky rhythm guitar.